Hello and welcome to Narrowboat Chef. Today on the menu we are doing Saag Aloo.
This recipe was actually chosen by our Patreons. We are doing monthly Patreon polls where they get to choose what we cook.
Yeah, we put up 4 recipes, well 4 recipe ideas. I'm not going to write 4 recipes until they choose one. And then in the following month we will do that recipe. Saag Aloo is a potato and spinach dish from India. So it uses the spice palette, mostly cumin. Everybody loves cumin. Well, I like to think everyone loves cumin.
Cumin is pretty awesome. So let's get cooking.
Let's get cooking. So I'm going to start with smaller potatoes with the skin on. I'm not going to peel them for this because I generally like the potato skin when I'm eating. So I'm just going to boil them whole because they're quite small, and then once they're boiled I'm just going to quickly nip them in half before I cook them any further. But if you've got a larger potato you can cut it into half or quarters depending on how big they are before you boil them. So I've got a pot on the stove top. I'm going to lightly season it with a bit of salt, and then I'm going to drop my 500 grams of skin on potatoes into the water and I'm just going to boil it. I'll cook them off in my pot for about 10 minutes. And while my potatoes are boiling, I will cut up 1 red onion into a small dice.
That's a brown onion, right?
I'll cut up 1 brown onion into a small dice. I'm thinking because I got a red chili. And 1 large red chili I'll dice up into a small dice as well. So with my chili, I'm just going to quickly remove the top. And I'm just going to slice it down lengthways. Then open them up. Use my fingers to spread them open like that. And just use my knife to take out the seeds, because I don't want the seeds in it because I don't want it to be too hot and the seeds carry a lot of the heat. But if you want yours to be extra hot, just leave the seeds in and go nuts. I'm just going to cut them lengthways and then just slice them into small squares. Small dice. And never forget that after you cut chili, always thoroughly wash your hands. I always suggest at least wash it twice. I always try to wash it 3 times. With soap. Because working in the industry for a while, you always forget, and then 10 minutes later you rub your eye and then you're crying. So I'm just going to use a skewer to test them. There we go, nice and tender. It went through with only a small amount of resistance. So I'll just turn the heat off and I'll quickly strain them and let them drain. So I'm just going to set those potatoes aside in the strainer to finish steaming off and drying out a bit. Once they've cooled down just a little bit more, I'll cut them up into the required size for about half. I'm just going to cut them in half. I'm going to start cooking my onions out. I'm going to start off with a hot pot with a bit of oil in it, throw my onions in, start to sweat them off, then put about a teaspoon of garlic, a teaspoon of ginger. Then I'll throw my spice mix in, which is about a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of garam masala, and a teaspoon of turmeric. And I'll cook that out with a little bit of butter until it's nice and fragrant. Alright, so now I'm going to pop in my about 50 to 60 grams of butter, start it melting slightly, and now my spice mix, and cook it out until it's nice and fragrant. Now my spice mix and butter has cooked out for about a minute. It's nice and fragrant now. I'm going to add my potatoes, and in a few seconds I'll add my chili and my spinach. So that was 200 grams of spinach. So you just stir the spinach around and it'll start wilting pretty quickly. At this point you can even turn the heat off so you're not frying the potatoes too much or getting the bottom burnt too much. One of the last steps is just season to taste. Just a bit of salt and pepper. So there you have it. That's our Saag Aloo. It smells good.
It does smell really good.
So you can serve that on the side with other Indian dishes. It's quite nice to have. It's a nice starchy filling thing.
Yeah.
We sometimes have it on its own with some naan breads. It's quite good.
Yeah, or pita breads.
Oh yeah, pita breads.
So if you want the recipe for the Saag Aloo, check the description below. There's a link there that'll take you to our website which has all of our recipes. And don't forget, if you don't already know, we have recently released a cookbook.
Our Lockdown Legacy Cookbook.
So if you haven't already checked that out, there's also a link down below for that one as well. So thank you to the Patreons who selected this recipe. We had a lot of fun making it.
Yeah.
And we'd also like to say thank you to some new patrons. So we have Morali Vergetti, who is an apprentice chef level patron, and also Vincent Arper, who is a chef de partie patron as well. So thank you guys, thanks to all of our patrons and everybody who watches our videos.
And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye!
Bye!